The other day, I asked my fans what they thought ERLC needed for a future update. They came up with some good ideas, and I personally also came up with a few good ideas. Now, starting with better car audio design. Right now, the audio is a little bit too basic. Every car pretty much sounds the same. The audio is literally so boring that it gives you a headache. And honestly, if there's something that ERLC should update, it's the car audio, because that can be improved a lot. Now, moving on, here's another thing that I want to point out that I think ERLC would be better with, because the game is insanely large and the map feels very empty in a way. Not that the map is bad, but because there isn't enough players. You can be like, what, 30 players in a server? But for a map like this, you would need at least 80 to fill up the map. It's why you have to join up really small roleplay servers that, you know, stack everyone into one singular place, like Springfield. And even if everyone is in the same part of the map, it still feels kind of empty, which is super weird. But yeah, bigger servers, definitely. But then, of course, the optimization problem comes in. Not sure how they could fix that. Now, the third thing would be more guns and improved gun sounds. The gun sounds aren't terrible, but just like the car sounds, they are a little bit boring. Let's be real. When it comes to more guns, this is just, you know, to add a little extra in the game. Don't have to add more guns, but maybe another shotgun, another pistol, another AR, an SMG, whatever. Just to give a little bit of that variety. And something another commenter said under my post on YouTube was actually that he wanted to see different guns for police and civilian. So the AR for police and civilian right now is the same, and the civilian should probably have a different variant of it. But then moving on, this is probably the most looked forward to update in ERLC, and that would be a firefighting revamp or super big firefighting update. This is personally something I've been waiting for a really long time, because firefighting is honestly super fun. And so I think ERLC would greatly benefit from a huge firefighting update. I'm talking new vehicles, new gear, new tools, new fire calls. And if you keep watching, there will be some other really interesting things that I will mention in the video regarding the map and specifically around this firefighting part. And another thing that would be epic would be if they actually improve the fire. I mean, the fire right now is so easy to put out that it's kind of boring in a way, because you respond to a call, you sit there, you wait 10 minutes for a call to come in, and when you actually get the call, it's something boring like a brush fire and there are 3 trees on fire or 3 bushes on fire that takes you 2 seconds to put out. More realistic fires. And another thing that would be pretty epic here would be if there was a little bit of fire spread, you know, like in Maple County where fires actually do spread. Maybe not as wild as in Maple County, but a tiny bit of fire spread just to make the fire calls last longer and actually require the need to cooperate with other firefighters. That would bring tons of RP. Now, something another person requested was an armored ambulance. That actually would be quite smart, because right now if an ambulance is requested to, let's say, a big shootout, then the ambulance is a target and could easily be destroyed and the personnel could be killed. But an armored ambulance would probably fix this issue. Now, here comes a little more regarding that firefighting stuff, and that would be more nature. Right now the nature is quite, how do I put it, small. There are trees, there are bushes, but not a lot of it. Okay, maybe more forests, maybe more, you know, stuff like that would be great for the game, because then you could have more brush fires, bigger brush fires, and more interesting situations. And yeah, some brush trucks would be pretty cool to have in game. Now, next is something I actually thought of the other day, and that would be map customization. So this is only for roleplay servers that people own, of course, but being able to build your own, you know, roleplay server from scratch the way you wish would be pretty cool. So sort of like dev tools, but in your own roleplay server, so you can build your own little city. Let's say you own a California RP server, then you can actually build a little town in California or whatever. That would be epic. Not sure how they would implement this, but, you know, a small idea that maybe ERLC's developers would be interested in adding. Now, another thing somebody mentioned in my comments was a huge weather revamp. Better earthquakes, tornadoes, tsunami, and power outages would be pretty cool too. Not sure about tsunami, but, you know, flooding would be a good thing. That would be amazing for RP. Those other things mentioned as well are pretty epic, but for the tornado, we actually would need another thing, which would be a tornado siren. Yep, that would be so cool. You know, the entire town going into lockdown when, you know, a huge tornado comes in and there's sirens start blazing everywhere. The RPs would be crazy. Okay, now moving on, we got the K9 unit. Yep, people want a K9. Police officers should be able to have a dog with them to respond to calls and chase down criminals. I only know a few games that have actually managed to implement this and do it well, and I do believe that Los Angeles by Mountain Interactive is probably the best for K9 patrols, because you can actually have the K9 chase down suspects and fight them and stuff. It's pretty cool. Now, here's something somebody said that I thought was was super smart. Apartments, yeah, purchasable apartments. Just like houses, apartments would be, you know, maybe in the main city area, downtown Liberty City, where you could purchase a beautiful home inside one of those buildings. It would be pretty neat, and that would bring more RP because police would have to chase down criminals into those apartment buildings. Something that was also requested was vehicle plates with different countries/states on them. So instead of the usual, you know, Liberty City, whatever, you would have countries and states. So in case there is a tourist coming in, he could have a little plate showing that he's a tourist. Next up, we got new sirens for police cars, fire trucks, and ambulances, etc. Not a bad idea. I don't think the sirens are too bad, but yeah, I could definitely see some improvements on that as well. Lots of siren variants could be added, but I'm not complaining about the crew ones. They're fine by me. Now, another thing that I personally would love to see more would be car modifications. So having more options what to do with your cars, sort of like in South Florida or GTA. I mean, yeah, you can go in, you can customize your car a tiny bit with the license plate, you know, with the color of the car, but it's kind of boring. It does lack a lot of features that I think South Florida does a lot better than ERLC right now. Now, once we're talking about cars, we could also head on to better driving physics, because right now I think the driving physics are pretty dull in ERLC. I mean, the car suspensions are horrible. Cars literally jump, sort of like if you're going down a mountain or up a mountain, your car starts jumping. It's so weird, and I think ERLC could greatly benefit from better car suspensions and, you know, driving physics overall. Maybe even implementing car damage. Like, now I'm not talking about, you know, smoke coming out of the engine. I'm talking about literal car damage. So your car actually has damage on them after you hit another vehicle or drive into something. Would not be easy to add, I understand, but from a player's perspective, it would be really fun. Next would be more police customization. And just like with the car modifications, this could be many different things. First of all, maybe more customization for the police cars, but then of course more gear customization, being able to customize your character a little bit more, additional uniforms, etc. Now, something somebody requested here actually sounded so dumb at first, but when I truly thought about it, it wasn't as dumb as I thought, and that is Glock switches. So right now the Glock is just semi, so you shoot one shot at a time. You have to pull the trigger every time. If you have a switch, then you can like spray, you know, like criminals do. They have a switch, so it goes from semi to automatic. Maybe this would be a good feature in ERLC for criminals or like mafias to be able to have by, you know, going to an illegal gun dealer or whatever, and they can buy a Glock with a switch. It would bring additional RP to the game, that's for sure. Now, somebody else requested separate liveries for Liberty County and Springfield. I totally agree with this. You want a bit of that variety, you know. Now, next are boats and flyable helicopters. Now, for boats, I do agree. That would be a really cool addition to ERLC, but flyable helicopters would cause chaos in public servers, and therefore they would have to be, you know, only flyable in private servers. And somebody else actually requested a news shopper, so, you know, the news team, it would be pretty cool if they had a helicopter, right? That's another thing on the list here, because then, you know, you could have the most amazing RPs possible. You could have helicopters flying above, recording to the news when there was a car chase or whatever, or big fire, who knows. But yeah, on the topic of boats, somebody also requested a beach. Yeah, a beach, and for a beach you also need an ocean. Not sure how they would manage to implement that into ERLC or where they would do that, but honestly, not a bad idea at all. And while we're on boats and stuff, somebody also requested bikes, so you can have like police bike patrols and all that sort of stuff. That's also a neat idea, which I'm honestly surprised ERLC hasn't implemented yet, because games like Berkeley County already has that thing. And whilst we're at that, Berkeley County has another thing that ERLC doesn't: a city hall. Yeah, the city hall is actually quite important if you're a strict RPer in Berkeley County. It serves a big purpose there. Sadly, in ERLC, there really isn't a city hall. In fact, there aren't that many enterable buildings at all. So on the same topic, while we're talking about the city hall, that could be a potential building in ERLC, another thing would be more enterable buildings. Now, another thing that I would love to have in ERLC that a lot of people have requested would be first-person POV in vehicles. So, you know, if you're in the game and you want to drive, instead of being in third person, you can also go into first person. Yes, it would require the developers to add interiors into vehicles, and, you know, could cause lag in servers, but the thought behind the idea is not bad. I like it. Another thing on that part, a trucking job. Honestly, a trucking job would be amazing, really fun. Trucks would be awesome to have in the game. The only trucks right now are essentially the DOT trucks, but it would be fun to see, you know, timber trucks, box trucks, all this sort of stuff. Definitely something ERLC should think of. And actually, as I'm talking about it, I know one game that has a trucking job. Our game, Princeton. Yes, it has a trucking job. Now, something else else that was requested was more suburban areas. Now I do have an issue with this, but I also think it's a good idea. Now the issue with this is that the map is already really big and it would make the game even more densely populated. So instead, what they should do is probably, make the suburban areas bigger. Like for instance, in Springfield, the suburban neighborhoods are quite small. Maybe they should just add more housing in. I don't know. Something can be done about it. Maybe fit in more houses and try to make more types of buildings so it looks like not every house is the same thing. But yeah, not sure what I think about it, but yeah, it would be a pretty cool thing to have in game, honestly. And next up, we got the double gun in inventory idea. This idea comes from another user and I had to include it because this is such a smart one. Right now, you can only have one singular gun with you on a patrol, whatever. You can have non-lethal as a cop as well, but for civilian, you can only have one gun. Now sure, weight should be considered, but in real life, you can easily carry more than two guns. You could have one AR on your front, you could have a pistol in your pocket. At least let us have two guns on us at the same time. And yeah, the craziest one of them all, drive-by shootings. Being able to shoot out of windows. That would be pretty epic, I can't lie. How they would do it, that's a question that I cannot answer because I genuinely don't know, but definitely a cool idea nonetheless. Either way, that was it for today's video. I do appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hope you all have a great rest of your day and see you in the next video. Bye.